is 5:30, so I'm gonna go ahead and start.
Ready? All right. Call to order at 5:30. Let's have the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right.
Realize that we gave you this.
Oh, thank you. And we'll do roll call. So we have Andy online. Hi, Andy. And Jim's here. Jim, you here? You here, Jim? And Cindy, you're here. Is here, present. And Kevin?
I'm very here, yep.
And I'm here. So we're all accounted for. All right. So now we will look at additions to the agenda. To make most sometimes does anyone would like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. Cindy, second. Okay, any discussion? No? All right, all those in favor, say yay. Aye.
Yay.
All those opposed? None? So it has passed, our agenda is approved. And we'll move into interested citizens. I didn't see anybody sign in. Is there anybody online that we know of? No? Okay, so then we'll move on to oh. Did I hear something? No, okay. All right, item 4 then, approval of the minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? And I have somebody make a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Kevin second. All those in, oh, sorry. And is there any discussion?
Well, it's done.
None? Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So our minutes are approved as stated. And now we'll move on to item 5, which is our staff reports from Elsa.
Put it presentation in the document. It's just one, it's just the snippet. I was going to give you an update on where we are at for our periodic update. But I'm going to use the schedule on screen to help me talk about it. You
14 clicks.
So we have our schedule, and the highlights. The horizontal is today, the April 16th, in the Planning Commission, and then the vertical is transportation, which is on our agenda tonight, and that's the first time we're going to talk about that subject. So we're pretty far down the road with these. You can see. I can't highlight each of them, but you can see that the pinkish color is the adoption. So we have adopted 3. We've adopted amendment criteria, enforcement, street vacations. And next week at City Council, they'll be doing a second read on the zoning districts. And we have a hearing coming up for the affordable housing, the ADUs that you had a hearing for last time. And then, as you probably saw in your packet, I've asked it for a continuation on the specialized. So that agenda or that schedule is going to change a little bit with that one to accommodate the change in hearing date. And then on the far left is our comprehensive plan. So you can see part 2 was in your packet, and part 2 will be going to Planning Commission in May. I wanted to give a little space in there. So if you had any recommendations for changes, I can make those changes before it goes to city council. So any questions, thoughts about the schedule? Okay. Oh. Yep, that's good. Thank you.
Did you want to now just move on to our scheduled items then?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's planning, or excuse me, comp plan first, correct? Yeah. So you all had draft of part 2 in your packets. It doesn't have maps or any other graphics included with it. Those were not ready at the time, but I got some feedback from Mr. Rowe and Ms. Altide in which you can talk about tonight and I can incorporate in, but I would like to hear any feedback, any changes, any concerns with the draft of part 2.
I didn't have anything that was glaring to me.
Couple questions.
Evan, please.
So tell us a little bit about these maps, because there's a whole bunch of maps listed in here is not here, but I assume they're under preparation somewhere. And how is that going to come together? Because shouldn't that all be in here before it goes to council?
The draft. So these are all drafts. We're not
Right.
at adoption phase
No, I
for sure.
understand, but yeah.
Yeah. If I can pull it together, I will get it by that
I'm
time.
actually asking what the process is of getting the maps. Are you having to do
The person who makes the maps.
You're going to make the maps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Big job.
yeah, so it's just a matter of time, really, for creating those maps.
I like the visual of the maps, so makes some of this make more sense to me.
Yeah. And I can certainly, assuming I have them prepared, bring those back in May.
My second thing was you reference a lot of agencies in here, other people who are involved, the school district, the hospitals, all of that. Do you think we got them all, or do you think you have them all? I mean, there seems like there are so many agencies that can impact Medical Lake now. I know you've certainly listed a number of them, but how do you know whether you've gotten to all the important ones?
That's a difficult question to know whether we have it all. By involving the most people, it helps. Like one person doesn't remember, another one does.
Sure.
So, but I don't have a master checklist regarding that. If you have any suggestions on how to ensure that we capture all those parties that we should, I'm happy to hear it.
Right, yeah. I don't have any great suggestions for you. That's all I've got. You.
Jim, did you have anything?
No, I kind of agree with Kevin. I think the maps are really helpful for somebody, especially like me, that's a very visual person.
Okay.
I sent my comments. So just a couple verbiage changes and my concern, because I'm a thinker, like to think ahead. And when you talk about we're going to have the traffic problem, you're talking about a couple roundabouts. I mean, I'm looking at it going, how are we going to get the right properties? I can visually go, wow, we're going to have an issue there. And what comes to mind is one of the intersections, which anticipate would be Stanley and Lake.
Yes.
And there is a property for sale on that corner. It's like, it's now the time to like nab that. So we have plenty of room for around the future or no, or, I mean, that's just me causing worry where it doesn't need to be. But because we still have any measures in between now and then.
When's the right time to talk about the roundabouts?
Right now?
Right now, okay. Well, in the proposal that I saw, there's 3 roundabouts proposed in less than 4,000 feet. So to me, with all the other needs in Medical Lake, spending money on a roundabout, especially like at Stanley Lake, which I don't see much functionality there. In fact, I actually see problems with putting a roundabout there. So I thought, well, you know, be upfront, I do not like roundabouts. But so I thought, well, you gotta compromise. So I thought, well, the ideal thing probably would be to put one down at where 902 and Brooks come together. But after I really looked at that, I'm saying, in the traffic flow and everything, that's probably not a good idea either, because I don't know if you ever have to negotiate that intersection, but when the hospital shift change happens, if there was a roundabout there, you can get through that intersection for at least 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Because there's nonstop. They never quit. I've seen the roundabout at Craig backed up probably a half a mile during the same kind of time frame. So, roundabouts maybe, I know the transportation department just loves them, but there's some issues there, and you really need to think long and hard before you spend that kind of money to put something like that in. Right now, the only saving grace is the stop sign at 902 and where Brooks comes in. So they have to stop. If there's another car or whatever, then you get a little bit of a break. So I use the Stanley 902 intersection all the time for most of the things that we do. I don't have that big a problem. Now, if the stop sign went away down at the corner there, then I would have a problem. I'd be sitting there for a long time.
I like roundabouts because I think they make the traffic flow more consistent than stop signs. So they make it, and I think that it slows the traffic down. That's what I kind of like about a roundabout. It does slow down. What I found myself wondering too was we were quoting the number of accidents that have been at these intersections. I'd love to know which is the worst one. I mean, should we focus there first, or should we? Is there something else? Because it also says there are other measures between now and then. And so those could be crosswalks and things like that could stop some of the accidents, because I think that's what we're trying to stop. We're trying to keep traffic flowing. Just that change of actually letting the traffic go through on 902 to Eastern was a big deal. I mean, it used to really back up there when it was four-way stop. That was awful. So I mean, things like that could maybe solve some of the things we're talking about. But I
realized that one thing I haven't discussed with you is that we have a transportation consultant that has put together a transportation plan for us.
Oh,
it's in draft form. It is not refined, and Sunny and I have been reviewing that draft. So I'd like to think by next month we will have that draft available to you, and it'll help explain some of the things that I realize I have background on that you haven't seen yet. So that does have the accident reports in it. And do you know which intersection has the most?
Lake and Stanley.
Lake and Stanley.
On the report, it said there was 53 at Lake and Stanley from
Yeah, it is
1990 to
I didn't mean
2024.
the data, and then I would just add the context to you that in this comprehensive plan approach, it's 20-year plan, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like the answer is let's put roundabouts everywhere tomorrow, right? This is a 20-year plan that's just saying where are our issues that could need attention, and what are the most well-developed thoughts to solve those issues at this time. But it's not a commitment. It's not a promise that that'll happen.
Yeah.
It's just kind of highlighting some of those areas that need some attention and ways to address it.
And it also mentioned there was 5 roundabouts. There was one that wanted to be put at that intersection coming out of Fox Hollow, and so there's 5 of them on the list. Right? Is that correct?
Yeah, Graham.
Is there 5?
902 and Graham, 902 and Stanley, both north and south. So that's a jogged intersection. And then 902 and Brooks.
And then
Lake
Stanley.
and Stanley and Lake and Lafay, I think, are the ones that,
Is there
but I don't recall.
Is there a way that when they give us a proposal, that they can prioritize which ones have the most accidents, which ones would be most beneficial? I mean, I myself concur with Cindy. I like roundabouts. I know I have seen the traffic at the Craig one when Eastern shift change is not the same as Lakeland Village, but they're pretty close. Because I know Lakeland Village day shift is 3 o'clock to 3:15. And then in the evening, there's less people, but that's the most congested time frame. And I have seen it 15, 12 cars at the most. That's the most I've ever seen waiting to get through, but still the traffic moves fairly well. I mean, I've never waited more than 2 or 3 minutes to get through when it's that long. Typically, when there's not shift change, there's 2 or 3 cars ahead of you having to wait to get into the roundabout. Most of the time, it's just because someone is just sitting there when they should be going. But most of the time, I have no issues with the roundabouts. I prefer them.
The one thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that roundabouts are a heck of a lot safer than stop signs, and that's why the county put one out on 902. And keep in mind, 902 is a state highway, so it's not as simple as Medical Lake just saying, "Hey, we want them here and here." It's a massive process. If you look what's happened on Highway 2 and how long it's taken to get a couple out there, even where they could have one every block, but they won't because it defeats the purpose of having a state highway, which is designed to get people moved.
As you mentioned last time, also too, is that you're only when pedestrians are crossing, they're only having to look one direction instead of both ways too, because it's just flowing. Everything's flowing to the right. So that's one of the safer aspects I like about it.
And,
Yes, there's the opportunity for some congestion at certain peak times, but overall, that's just a small time frame from the 24-hour window when people are going to and from work.
So the 902 corridor, if you will, basically from entering the city on the east to LaFay Street, that is the city's priority at this point for safety mostly, but not just vehicle accidents, but pedestrian safety. It also is quite a divide between the old and new parts of town. Like it's just not it's not connected, it's divisive, right? So for all these reasons, roundabouts are a potentially good solution. You asked about in the meantime, so better pedestrian crossings, because of course we have buses on both sides of the street and people, if nothing else, crossing to get to a bus stop. But definitely people just trying to get through town as a pedestrian or a bicyclist. So these will all be looked at and, incrementally implemented as necessary. That's another thing, like as new development happens and traffic increases, like these are all pieces of the discussion. I don't know, is it correct, Sunny, that the state is encouraging a roundabout at LaFay, or is that a city initiative?
It's what I call that, like Kevin had mentioned, that it is a complicated process with WashDOT. They will review they are willing partners in the design aspect to help diminish the costs that would be on the city as far as the design element goes. But then, the city's desires for the safety aspects and the pedestrian lights and things like that to continue some of the aesthetic that we have and the work that we've done would be so there. But they're willing partners as far as helping with the design aspect. And
I did want to mention, Jim and I had talked earlier in the week about the idea that if one direction in a roundabout, for instance, shift change, is causing constant traffic, the other vehicles can't get into the roundabout is essentially what's happening and what happens at Craig Road on occasion. And I'd like to do a little bit of research and see, like, is there anything you can do about those situations? I don't know, but I understand the issue.
I would just suggest with that too, that one of the, I would call it a feature of the roundabouts, is that the busier the intersection is, the more efficient the roundabout is. So at Craig Road and 902, you have a dominant flow of traffic east and west and not very much traffic north and south. So it is not a very efficient roundabout. But at Lake and LaFay, where you have people coming out of the grocery store. So anyone from the left is going to cause that traffic to yield. And so there's more interruptions in a busier roundabout, which allows for better introduction and into those left-hand turns, which are nearly impossible without a stop sign or some sort of scenario. So, but that's, again, it really does depend. If it's at a time of day that no one's coming the other directions, it can be very problematic. But otherwise, when there's good traffic coming from all the directions, it's a more efficient flow than a stop sign or a stoplight. So,
And I see that, Sonny, particularly a lot what you're talking about, which is a good flow right there in Airway Heights where the Chipotle and the old theater is. That one.
Theater.
But I mean, it gets heavily used, but seems there's traffic coming from all four directions, and there's some stopping and going and slowing down.
That helps a lot because it's 2 lanes.
Yeah, it is 2 lanes, and that
Really
does
moves
make a
traffic
difference.
very well. Yeah.
and I think the other piece that Elisa was talking to is about the safety aspect of it. And so, like the Graham Road, for instance, is a scenario where the initial conversations were just about putting a dedicated left-hand turn lane for traffic leaving town to not back up traffic who wants to keep going if they want to turn and head into Fox Hollow or Fox Ridge. But at the same time, recognizing that the speed limit sign says slow down before Graham Road, but people rarely slow down before Graham Road. It's not until Stanley that they actually slow down. And so being able to put a feature in that says, oops, I've got to slow down here, can increase the safety for that corridor through town. And then the cadence of those roundabouts would reinforce that slower traffic. So it's a lot of variables that work together that have led to the recommendation of the roundabouts, not just the traffic flow, not just the speed, but many, many variables together that say, well, the best feature to accomplish all of those things at this point is the consideration of roundabouts. So, but I would say that's a process that's going to have to deal with a lot of outreach and input and
And a lot of
design
money.
with
yeah.
WashDOT.
I think my
Very
big point is
education.
just think long and hard before you decide to put one in. Because it takes an awful lot to get rid. If you decide it's not the right answer, it takes a lot of work and a lot of years to get rid of.
Another piece that, just pops into my mind about the Graham Road scenario is that right now that's a 3-way intersection. And Keene Road, which is outside of city limits and is another high traffic incident intersection, but it's not a problem that we are to address because it's outside of city limits, but we want to address it. So roundabout at Graham Road would allow that to become a 4-way intersection and connect to Sherman in a way that would cut off some of the problems at Keene that people have trying to cross the highway there as well, or enter the highway, because the speed's also 55 at Keene Road and 902. So there's just a layer of things, but yeah, well noted, well stated and noted.
Cindy mentioned right of way. Do you have any idea about having enough right of way in
Yeah.
the area?
So the initial design, just kind of doing some initial feasibility and design on 902, the existing right of way for all those roundabouts is sufficient for the roundabouts. There is one section at 902 in Brooks that would require additional property, but it's city-owned property. So that's that's one of the benefits of the old approach that Medical Lake has with the large 80-foot roundabouts for our roadways that is proving very beneficial for this conversation.
Andy, do you have anything? Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like I need to get on these maps and maybe not wait till the next meeting, but when they're available, send drafts to everybody. So you can insert it in. I mean, I won't send them separately. I'll put it in the document and provide it to you so you can have a better time digesting what it means and understanding. So thank you for that.
Other questions, comments?
No, good.
All right. Oh,
Can I ask one more?
absolutely.
So, walking and biking paths seem to show up in here quite a bit as a priority. Are you, I mean, you say on 902 in Lefebvre, so basically the whole big L, would you'd like to have that be, or you think that we should recommend that that be a bike and pedestrian? So, I mean, it's obviously a big right of way there. I mean, has anybody gone to the point of looking at how it would work?
We have not gotten to design, no. It is a wide right of way, in theory, would have space. I noticed that in our draft transportation plan, he was recommending a multi-use path, which is even separated from the roadway. I don't know if we have that much land, plus we have slope to deal with that, that's it slopes off to the south, so there's a lot of questions. And so it's an ideal, and ultimately the goal is to make connectivity better, not just for vehicles, but for pedestrians and bicyclists. And if having a bicycle lane for the length of that or so is not workable, then there's always the option of doing like a parallel route or something like that. You don't always have to incorporate bicycles on the main street. You can do one over, and it works well. So
It seems like we have a very active wheelchair resident coming out of Fox Hollow and going to the store and back and going to the corner, and he's operating in that zone between the sidewalk and the white line on the edge of the road, which, when there's a bunch of water up against the gutter, like there has been the last couple of days, means he's way out on the white line, which is a little disconcerting, I'm sure, for him, and certainly for me when I'm driving by and passing him. So I think, getting that addressed in this process is very appropriate. Maybe we could just get the water out of that gutter that always haunts right there by the swim.
Stormwater, was that mentioned in here?
One simple dry well.
Okay, then if there's nothing else, we move on to transportation. Unless you got anything else to cover?
no, we're good for comp plan.
Okay.
And if you think of anything later, contact me. Yes, so transportation, we're just starting this subject. So as with all topics, we have first just kind of an introduction to what we're dealing with. And then next time will be the actual language. So this one doesn't have a lot of new mandates that we're dealing with. It's mostly about how our code functions and how we'd like to improve it. The one that is a little odd that it is a mandate is Second Senate Bill 6015, which says parking spaces have to be at least 8 feet by 20 feet, and our code says they're 9 by 18. So I'm expecting to make it 9 by 20. A simple change, but necessary for state law. But as long as we're looking at parking, our parking chapter lists uses, not all uses, and they're not general, they're very specific. So just like the use categories that were created in the zoning districts, hoping to be more general with our parking standards. Plus we have new housing types. So need to think about how much parking for different housing types. So really revamping the parking chapter. If you want to take a gander at the municipal code and how that's set up right now, I encourage you to do so. But I'm not really planning to hold on to how it's structured, because it's not great. Another piece that there's not a new mandate, but concurrency is a big part of comprehensive planning and development regulation. And our state mandates transportation concurrency and encourages other. And so the word concurrency, I think it's used a little oddly in this way, but basically it means you need to have the infrastructure in at the same time the development goes in. So you don't do a new subdivision and improve a street later. It all needs to happen at the same time, if not before. So, for instance, the Ring Lake development, that the application that was in a couple years ago, that one, our sewer system was at capacity. So that was a real issue for them. And the city gets to it when we're able to get to it based on our financial abilities. And if the developer wants to develop before then it becomes their financial responsibility to change the system in order to create the capacity for that development. So that's what concurrency is. And like I said, only transportation is mandated. Basically traffic congestion is the main topic, but we look at all pieces when we're looking at development. So looking at that chapter is just lengthy and hard to read. So might be able to make that a more usable chapter for everyone. Commute trip reduction. So we have, it's called the CTR plan. We have one that was adopted by resolution by City Council last year, but the RCW says we need to adopt it by ordinance. So we do have a chapter in our municipal code for CTR, but it's from 2010. And it's probably best just to put a reference in there rather than try to put language, because this is a document that gets updated every few years. I don't know if it has a specific number of years, but it gets revisited on a regular basis. So putting very specific information in our municipal code doesn't really make a lot of sense. So probably removing most of that chapter and just keeping a reference to the fact that this CTR plan does exist for the city and that we are carrying out the plan. And finally, right now the code has private road standards, and we don't actually have any private roads in town officially. Everyone thinks that Golden Estates is a private road, but it shows up as public right-of-way. So I'm not sure the background on that. The private roads are typically not public right-of-way. They're actually a tract of land that has a parcel number like any other, but on the plat, there's some notation that says what it's used for. Another thing that tracts are used for are wetlands, so undevelopable land. So a private road goes in a tract, and there's regulations about it, right? You can still use it for travel, but it's not the city's responsibility anymore. It's the development's responsibility for maintenance and snow removal and things like that. So from my experience, private roads benefit the developer because they're cheaper, they're smaller, there's less infrastructure to put in. But ultimately it does not serve the citizens of the community because there's usually parking issues because they're more narrow. There's emergency vehicle access sometimes because people are parking illegally, and the police are not necessarily going in there to issue parking tickets because it's private. So there's a whole bunch of things that end up in there. And then of course, like snow removal and maintenance, ultimately it costs a lot to maintain streets, and developments, the amount of HOA fees you'd have to pay to keep up a street is quite high. So for that reason, for all those reasons, we are looking to just remove the option of having rated streets and just have, like, every street needs to be a public street. So then I decided not to address it in this one, but in the next group of amendments is subdivisions. And right now our street standards are in the subdivision chapter. So I wanted to just address that all at the same time, because there are some we have street standards in more than one spot. We have like sidewalk thing in more than one spot, bike lanes never mentioned, these sort of things. So there's a lot of stuff to pull together and make more streamlined. So I'm going to handle that in the next one. But in the meantime, really want to get rid of this private street standard so we don't get forced into allowing it. So that was a lot on that. Any thoughts about any of those that I should be thinking about while preparing language?
My biggest concern was, I sent you that, it makes me so nervous, private streets for emergency access. You never know what they're gonna do, it's theirs, it's private, it's like, yes, but you're also gonna complain when our firemen, you can't get down there to you. So, just makes me nervous, so I would support not having private streets, so.
Yeah. Question, you think? Go ahead.
Just going back to Ring Lake that you mentioned, would those have been private streets? The way they proposed it?
So the application, the way it was written, said private street, but the way the plat was drawn was a public street. So that was a point
To be determined.
of issue when in that review. So yes, it was ultimately a concern we had because of all the concerns we have over private streets.
And is that street that goes in where they wanted to make one of those entrances behind the green gate, is that a public street?
That is currently just a driveway. It's an easement that the city is not a party to.
Or having to maintain?
And I actually, from listening to all the people that use it, I'm not sure how formal it is.
Okay.
Andy, did you have anything? Go ahead. Okay. Okay. That it then?
That's all for me.
Okay. Our next one is policies and procedures. So there are some things that we wanted to look at addressing. The key point here says, per the rules of procedures, updating the rules is a two-step process. The first step requires a motion stating the amendment that is to be considered. And then at the following meeting, which would be next month, a new motion is made to consider adopting the amendment. So I think there is a few. Cindy, you had one, right? Did you have something that you wanted to mention?
I don't think I had one, I had a comment on it.
Okay,
It's
so
a
good.
matter of compliance, because we say at the end of it that you're gonna send a letter that needs to be received by 2 p.m. day of the meeting, and we have not held firm to that deadline. It's like, I don't know where we go. I don't think anything needs to be amended. That's just a conversation to say.
Okay, just more of a
Yeah.
hearing to,
I actually try to remind myself to go and check email at 4 o'clock in case anything came in. But I know you always bring us copies. It's just one of those things. It's like,
we cut off this 2 o'clock.
yeah,
right?
we post our meetings, a deadline's a deadline for a reason. And it's nice to be able to be considerate every once in a while, but if we start doing it, then the deadline's not a deadline anymore. So that is a suggestion.
Andy, did you have anything that you wanted to look at?
Are you kidding? I have something on every page.
Okay, do we want to just have everybody, if it's a lengthy list, email a list and then you can send it to us for review and discussion and address it at the next
Right.
meeting, or?
I'd like to know if Andy's comments are editorial or are they policy
Grammatical.
changes or procedure changes?
They're both.
Well, if we're gonna consider changes, we better get started. I mean,
Sure.
this is a 2 meeting
Yeah.
process
Yeah.
anyway, so
All right,
Let's
go, Andy. Nice.
Okay, so you all saw I think in 1998, City Council, rules of procedure. I looked up Spokane Plan Commission. It's not Planning Commission, Plan Commission Rules of Procedure. And I had, there's a couple things in there that I felt were important. So let's see. Boy, so the first one is 1.1 general rules. there's that, for some reason, that sentence, the second sentence is all stretched out there, and I don't know why that is, but that's editorial. I would like to insert 1.2 from the Spokane Planning Commission. It's called Duty of Mutual Respect. And I can read it if you want. It takes care of later on in this document about rules of procedure, personalities, and that weird statement in there. But so the statement is, it is the constant duty of each commission member to maintain respect for each other, the city staff, and the public. Likewise, the commission shall require corresponding respectful behavior from all persons who attend a meeting or hearing.
Wouldn't that fall into 7.3 where we have personnel and standards remarks?
Well, this is under general rules.
I was wondering if that's something that could,
We could put it somewhere else if you think it's just the very beginning of the whole section, the whole procedure. So it just sort of sets the stage. That's, yeah.
okay. That's a lot for me to try to write down. Is there,
So I offer that all these, anything, potential changes can be brought up today. I don't know if a motion per se, if we don't have the exact language in front of us, but I can incorporate it into the rules of procedure and then next time come back with that draft and then you can go through them to agree or not agree to.
yes, that'd be great. Can you put it in a contrasting color then too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Markup, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for months and we just have to kind of put it off. So I
Yeah.
think whether it takes
Sure.
another couple of meetings isn't real
Well,
important.
at least
Yeah.
we're moving forward on it.
Mhm.
Okay, well, and you said you had several?
Okay, so 1.3, I would like to recommend we change the third sentence where it says the member shall contact the city administrator, comma, planning director, that we revise this whole document to change planning director to senior planner.
So that'd be a change throughout everywhere, kind of like a remove and replace.
Yeah,
Is planning director to senior planning director?
Senior planner,
Senior planner?
is that right? Is that at least?
That is my title.
That is a title you also just got.
That's correct.
So I would hesitate to change the document to something where the title is hierarchical, depending upon your experience, reviews, raises, gave her a new title, still the same role. Can we come up with a name for that role?
So planning official,
Planning
I think is
official.
what is used in our municipal code, or a lot of things are used in our municipal code, but I think planning official is the term that I've been trying to use to replace
Okay,
all the variety.
that's fine.
That's-
planning official.
Yeah, that's more encompassing, I would think.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. Next.
Types of meetings, number 2.1. The commission, this is how it's written. This is the commission shall meet as needed. Well, no, we don't do that as needed. We do it all the time. So the commission shall meet on the fourth Thursday of each month or as revised per March 2026 meeting. We revised our dates. So that statement isn't correct anymore. We changed this date.
Say shall, and we don't meet, we're in violation of our own procedures.
Correct.
True. So a couple points I would bring up on that. It's saying this is just basically establishing the cadence of planning commission meetings, which is the fourth Thursday. by saying as needed, if, and of course now in our current pattern, there is no meeting that we're gonna say, you know, there really just isn't any business this month, so we don't need to meet. But that could happen in the future. It has happened in the past. And to meet for the sake of meeting, I think that opens opportunity by saying as needed to where we don't just meet for the sake of meeting. If there's no business, we would forsake that meeting. And then I would also offer that below that, it says the commission may reschedule meetings to a different date or time by motion. So we're covered. For the
Okay,
that were made, that's already included. So the whole thing does kind of cover it, but not that we couldn't take the, you know, amendment, and if there's a way to better reflect, that's fine. But if we remove the shall or as needed, then we're gonna meet, then it's a shall, and if we don't meet, even if there's no business, then we're in violation. So
So let's just leave it as it is.
okay.
Because it does, yeah, because address
Yeah.
later on, that if we want to change it, we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go with that. Then, on the next page, I'm interested in adding a, new number. It could be at the end, but it sort of belongs below 3.2 as an insert, which states that the chair may make or second any motion and may present and discuss any matter as a member of the commission and shall vote on all matters. That description of chair and duties does not really encapsulate that statement. What we have down here on the procedures. And I felt it was important to add that. I'll repeat it. The chair may make or second any motion and may present and discuss any matter as a member of the commission and shall vote on all matters. When I was doing vice chair, or when I was chairing, I didn't feel I could make a motion. I didn't feel I had to ask if there was a second, and I wasn't even sure that I could second.
Well, I believe under the Roberts rules, the chair does not make motions or seconds.
But we get to choose what we want to do. That's why it's at the very end of this of this document. It says it's an outline. Robert's rules is an outline.
right, and if you want to define something and it's in the rules of procedure, that's the way you play. Anything not defined in the rules of procedure would default to Robert's rules. So I mean, this is, if there's nowhere else that specifically states that responsibility, we want to make it clear. I think it's worth entertaining.
Input?
No, just why don't you write it up and as one of the drafts.
Okay, we'll look at it.
Okay. Let's see. So under order of business 4.1, we have under number 1, we have A, excused absences. And this is just nitpicky, but that is not listed on our agenda page that we use every month. We don't have A, excused absences on there. And the other issue is number 7, where it says public workshops. On our agenda, it says public hearings.
So that's just more of a grammatical, right? That's what you're saying?
Editorial.
A
Editorial.
workshop and a hearing are different things, but we could change them both to say workshop/hearing.
Do we do both or typically just hearings?
The things that I consider to be workshops go under the scheduled items.
Okay.
to reflect how we handle it in council, they actually have a section called workshops.
Hmm.
So a hearing is different than a workshop.
So we change that to hearings. Okay. On number one for you're addressing excused absences. Maybe we put in after that hyphen if applicable, because we do roll call, and if nobody's here, that's when we would address that we have an excused absence. But it's not going to be pertinent all the time if we're here. So maybe just a hyphen if,
Just take it out.
or take it out. Yeah.
It's just
I mean, because
words.
well, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it. Just strike it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So then on page 35, public hearing procedures. Oh, wait, before that. So 5.3, I just want everybody to read that second sentence that starts with when disqualification of a member, which is the fourth line. I just want you to read that through and figure out how you would actually write it to make it sound better, because I have tried to figure it out, but I haven't been able to. So it's just a very uncomfortable 7-line sentence. Anyway, then number 6.1, this document, the second line, whether they wish to speak as a proponent, opponent, or from a neutral position. I don't believe we actually do that. Do you, Chair?
Which number was that again?
6.1, second sentence down, in the middle of the second sentence. Whether they wish, you ask all persons, may request that all persons wishing to be heard sign in, give their name, and whether they wish to speak as a proponent, opponent, or from a neutral position. This issue, the same statement comes up again in here. And it just isn't anything that we ask, to my knowledge.
But it is something that happened during the Ring Lake hearing. They identified themselves as proponent for the project.
And we do often, I mean, it's,
That's
we attempt as staff to provide a script for public hearings where when you introduce, we would like to ask proponents to step forward and provide comment. And so it's kind of indirectly there. And then I would say also, not that it's as plain, but at a minimum, if somebody's standing up to speak their piece, they're telling you quite plainly whether they're for or against the thing that they're talking about. So they may not say it as proponent or opponent.
They say in favor, but
They're telling you that they're for it
It's
or
a
against
synonym.
it, or that they don't care.
it's a synonym,
Yeah.
proponent or in favor,
Right.
opponent or opposed or.
But we
adversary.
could talk about that script. We could make the script more specific to use that language in the future and more consistent, if that's the desire of the commission.
I'm okay with that. Well, make it a little more, I mean, I think it would be not just to our advantage, but to the community who reads this, to put it in a little more plainer English for them. Because, I mean, if you read formal documents all the time, you kind of understand where the intent is, but then again, you want to make it in a format that is just regular speaking English that people get through without having to scratch their head.
So it's just to clarify, is it the desire of the commission that we would create the script to reflect the language that's here? Or would you like to make this language less specific?
How can I say this the best way? I don't want to get so specific that we're acting like we're some big hullabaloo thing here. This is a small town. We should deal with people who come to our meetings as residents of our town. And great, if we can make things as clear as possible, wonderful. But I don't think we have to put people in boxes to have them come talk to us. That's all. I mean, I'm just trying to keep things simpler. I think less words is simpler if possible.
Plain English.
Haven't attended one, but it looks like the goal of it is to try to group them together if there are a lot in each category, so that you're not popping around trying to figure it out. So I don't know that it has to be, like you said, formalized someplace. If we end up with 25 people here, we've got another issue. We know we're gonna have an issue. We can ask them to
Yes,
segregate it that way in time.
And
Make it simple.
I would say that you will have the prerogative to do such a thing if you
Yeah.
feel like necessary.
Yeah.
And usually it's under the time issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look and we ever really had 25 people, and you did the math and you're like, we're gonna be here all night, you know, you can create a situation that is more efficient.
You know, and it does say the total time limit is 30 minutes complete
Yes.
for everybody.
And that also is your discretion.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
Yeah, I saw
right?
that.
It's just, it gives you an opportunity to limit.
You have to gauge the environment to the topic. So what's the consensus then? Is gonna leave it or
I would just remove it.
just remove it?
I wouldn't change the script. I would remove it from here and, because they say at the bottom, it could be heard in logical groupings. It's already down there at the bottom.
Anybody else have anything? Jim?
Sounds good to me.
Andy, you okay?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
So that is also under 6.3, number 1, all comments by proponents, opponents, and other members of the public can be changed to all comments by members of the public shall be made from the podium, unless that's what Cindy was talking about.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, so you want to keep that, that's fine. And then it's under number 4 on the next page also. Do you want to keep that?
Well, I think what Cynthia was saying is just we'll change it on all the affected areas, right?
Oh, okay,
There it is,
So all
yeah.
the affected, so not just the first one under
okay,
6.1, but
Right.
all the other rather
okay, good,
the same language.
Yes.
Both come with
okay.
one set of verbiage and then it'll be copy paste, so to speak, in the other section.
Sure, okay, good. Then on page 36, number 7.2, it says under agenda item, public comments. We don't have an agenda item, public comments. We have an agenda item, interested citizens. And so I would say to change that line to under agenda item, interested citizens, speakers may address any city item. If that's okay?
sounds redundant. All right, if you're a citizen, aren't you already a speaker?
Well, it's public, it's the title of the agenda item, so it's not. It's 7.2, under agenda item, public comments. Citizens may address any city item. But I was going to change it to interested citizens, speakers, because interested citizens is the title of the agenda item. Is it not clear?
Sure. I mean, I think we know
understand
where
what
we're
you're trying to
going.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to make it go back.
Make things match. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool. Match number,
okay.
7.2, match number 9.
And you know, Andy, you know that we have a shorter version of 7.2 in front of us as well.
You do?
Andy, I'm sorry, I emailed that to you just before the meeting. Sunny had, with our legal counsel, had put together a replacement paragraph.
Oh, okay.
Apologize for not
I
tipping
can
you off
go
on
into the
that.
revisions that are coming out.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. I thought I was really confused. Okay. Did you address the 15-minute limitation?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, what does that say now?
Well,
It's in your email, Andy.
Well, I can't access that because I'm on my iPad. So
I'm happy. Under agenda item public comments, citizens may address any city item they wish to discuss with the commission. Speakers shall first obtain recognition by the chair, state their name, whether they are a resident of Medical Lake, and the subject of their comments. Comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker unless additional time is granted by the chair or by a majority of the commission. The part about presentations has been removed.
Oh, okay, great. Because I know that was something we really wanted to change.
Yes.
Okay, and then I assume you also would maybe change the next paragraph a little bit? Or not?
Which one?
No,
No,
Oh, okay. Are we gonna keep 5 minutes, the fourth line in that paragraph?
Yes.
yes,
Okay, and then agenda item, public comments should still be interested citizens.
okay.
And then I only have 2 more things. On the last page, 8.1, suspension of these rules. Any provision of these rules not governed by the city may be temporarily suspended by vote of a majority of the commission. Does this make sense to you all? This statement?
Well, you left out one word.
Code.
city code. Yeah,
And
Oh.
with in there, I think it makes
Oh,
sense.
right, okay, right. So it does make sense. I had that pushed over to be right next to city instead of that blank there. That I have on my version. I have like 5 spaces between city and code. So y'all like that statement?
Good with it.
yeah.
Makes sense to me. Anybody else?
I would just offer the context too is that these statements are in place. So there's things like, for instance, if you're an example of city council is that in their rules and procedure, in their policies and procedures, ordinances have to have 2 separate reads on 2 separate occasions. But if there's an emergency ordinance and there's not enough time, they can suspend the rules to do a first and second read and adoption all in one meeting. That's not their standard practice, but if there's some unforeseen circumstance that necessitates a suspension of the rules, they have the measure to suspend the rules and carry on with business versus needing to call special meetings on subsequent
And that's why it
days.
states here may be temporarily.
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah.
If this happens, we have that.
It is kind of a catch-all for just those one-off circumstances that like, well, gee, I wish we had a way to not have to play by that rule under the circumstance. I can't think of something more specific than that off the top of my head, but just having the provision of, if need be, you have the authority to suspend your rules for your purposes.
Yeah, we
Makes
could
sense.
suspend the 30-minute rule if we knew we had a lot of testimony.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Right.
because
That's how
we
we
can't be here all night. You said we have a bunch of people.
Yeah, so the Spokane Plan Commission has a rule that includes both of those, 8.1 and 8.2. And that rule is suspension or amendment. And the statement reads, these rules or any of them may be temporarily suspended or amended by a majority of the planning commission vote at any regular meeting.
It's pretty much what ours says
Yeah.
already. It's just
It's just in 2
two separate
ones.
items.
It's
I
one more thing. It also amends a rule at the same meeting. It doesn't make it go to the next meeting. This 8.2 says that the rule had to be introduced at the previous meeting.
So that's the part you're objecting to. Andy?
It's for consideration.
Okay.
And it also incorporates both of those
Right.
issues.
Added, we looked at it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to change that part of it personally. I don't think there's anything wrong with giving things due consideration and rules that we're considering.
Okay, was that all you had?
That's it. That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I had to make these corrections because I am the only person on the commission at the time that these were done. And I really felt that they could have been better.
That's fine, thank you for your input. And Cindy, you said you didn't have anything other.
I did. I was just making a comment about that last one.
Okay.
Because I know there's sometimes you're gonna want to make an exception and go ahead and bring it to, especially if it's like, that'd drag us out another meeting, cause us to move the whole schedule. Don't do it, bring it. But I don't know. I don't like it when citizens try to take advantage. A rule is a rule for a reason. I'm pretty black and white, but I will also change it.
I say generally speaking, I ask our legal counsel if I should or not,
Good, okay,
if it comes in after 2 o'clock.
that's good to know.
When it has to do with a hearing.
There are some things that I get, but there are also some frivolous things. It's like, you gotta be kidding.
Oh, yeah, sometimes I looked at just before 4 every now and then, like, oh, this is new.
Thanks.
Jim, did you have anything?
No,
Kevin?
Anything else on policies and procedures? No?
Yes.
I have 2 items. One is on the agenda list. Order of business, 4.1, order of business. Number 2 says additions to the agenda. And to make life simpler for everyone, if that could be changed to approval of agenda.
Right.
And then if there happens to be additions, happens to be additions.
Yeah, okay.
The other is food for thought on the city council says you have to state your address. For planning commission, it was changed from that to state whether you're a resident because at least one person was concerned about being a single woman and always giving her address in a public place, which I can understand. However, I want to just mention it's not just residents that come to speak. Like sometimes we have business owners, sometimes we have employees, and I'm not sure, like just saying, are you a resident or not, elevates their importance and may or may not be the right thing to do. So giving you a background on why it says that and your thoughts on if you want to retain whether they're a resident or not, or change that in any way.
What would be a suggestion to change it? I don't know. Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but does anybody have any ideas on what would be a good substitute phrase?
We're planning for the city of Uinta Lake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our only responsibility. So we ought to know whether people are residents of the city of Uinta Lake if they want to tell us something. I mean, it's not that their opinion's better or worse because of it,
Right.
but just are they actually affected by it or not?
So do you want to go beyond resident to actual address?
I think it's reasonable.
I'm okay with that.
Every public forum does that I'm aware of.
And I do understand that if somebody's opposed to giving their address, that they can tell us that themselves and
Sure.
we can make an exception.
does that get published on a website or anything?
It was recorded.
No, it's recorded.
So it would be
Okay.
public record.
Historically, where you can go in and
Yeah.
view it any time. So, would y'all want to change it to, are you a resident and please state your address or disclose your address?
I think it's important to know if they're a resident or not, if they're giving any kind of testimony. Whether we have to have their actual address.
Yeah, and my point wasn't the address per se, but like somebody who owns a business in town, like they're a property owner, they just don't technically live here. Are they less important than a resident? That sort of thought process.
They,
Go ahead, Andy.
Could they state whether they're a resident or a property owner? Could we ask that? Please state whether you're a Medical Lake owner, resident or property owner. Could we ask that?
I mean, we could. I'm just kind of leaning with Kevin. What's the relevancy of this? You know, drilling down so deep. Do we need to drill down so deep? Just leave it as resident.
We could just do that. Sure.
I'm personally fine with asking if they're a resident. I mean, you could ask them what's your vested interest here, or what's your business here, or are you a property owner, business owner, resident? I mean, you could come up with a whole litany of caveats.
Say, do you live in Medical Lake? A very simple question. Now we get to the issue.
It's fine. I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
It is different than a lot of commissions, and it's not wrong. I'm just saying it's different. And the idea that our community is made up more than just residents.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand, and that's a valid point, but also to the point, I mean, if they were asked, are you a resident here, and they say no, but I own a business, then we understand that. Say, okay, well, yeah. I mean, that still doesn't invalidate their need to speak and voice their opinion or their concern, because they do have a concern, especially being a business owner. But I mean, it gives them the platform to elaborate more if they are or are not. And if they are not, then okay, they can say, well, I'm a business owner, or I'm an employee here. You know, I don't live here, but I'm an employee here. Actually, so they could have that business owner, employee.
A proponent.
Okay. Touche.
That's fine. So we'll keep it the same. Thank you.
All right. Well, then is that it for this portion?
Yep. So I'll do a draft with the markups and provide that for next time.
Thank you.
Sorry to
And then-
dump that on you.
Okay. So we will move on to item 7, which is periodic update on specialized housing.
Yeah, I've given you the script. So basically, we have a hearing tonight, and I was asking if you would open the hearing and then ask for a motion to continue. And the reason was the language for the specialized housing, which is like emergency housing, shelters, et cetera, et cetera. I had received comments at the 11th hour from our legal counsel saying that the language was not meeting the latest changes. We had some 2026 legislative changes, and it's going to go into effect in June or July, so we might as well just, meet that also. And I revised the language, but by time of packet, I did not have
Okay, so we're not gonna-
confirmation, so I just ask you that you continue, and now I have the language, it's all good, but we'll just continue it to next meeting if that is.
Can you make a motion on that?
So
Yeah.
open the meeting, like announce that you're opening a public meeting, state the time, and then ask for a motion for continuation.
All right. So we'll introduce a public hearing for the Medical Lake, was it master
Specialized housing amendments.
specialized housing amendments. Okay, and the time is 6:43. And all those asking for somebody to make a motion for continuation of this to our next meeting, or next meeting, or at a further meeting?
Next meeting.
Next meeting, okay.
I make a motion that we address it next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. You have a second? You have a second? All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? There's none, so it's passed to continue this at our next meeting in May.
And I'll just explain, we advertise for public hearings, so that's why it's
No,
important to
that's fine.
Yeah.
make that on record.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll move on to commission members' comments or concerns. And I'll start with Andy online. If he has anything.
Do we need to close the public hearing?
No, it's continued.
Okay. Okay, right. No, I don't have any other issues. Thank you.
Cindy,
Nothing more?
Jim,
No,
Kevin?
Well, I'm kind of astounded at why we're doing it. I mean, it literally the legislature just, whatever they called when they finished their session, in the last month. And they're already impacting our comprehensive plan.
The development regulations,
Yeah.
yeah.
Kind of remarkable. I guess comprehensive plans take a long time to develop and the laws could change a couple of times in that process.
Yeah, the other thing is the state has, I think it's 4 groups of counties. So we're all, we're the third of 4 groups adopting comp plans. So every year there's another group adopting comp plans. So yeah, for us, it's midstream, not ideal, but for somebody else, they finished 2 years ago. And so they're just making new development regulation changes, not within the periodic update.
The entire rest of the time we're going to be on this commission, we're going to be updating the comp plan.
Well, it's a development regulation, this particular one, but it is likely that annually, if the legislature continues as they are annually, we potentially would be making amendments to our code to meet mandates.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you for keeping up with it.
It's a lot. Living document. Okay. Our next item is interested citizens. Nobody signed in. Is there anybody online, Roxanne? No?
Diane Nichols is
Oh,
up there.
here she is. Sorry, didn't see her. Okay.
Diane, did you? I see she has her hand up. Okay. Hi, Diane.
Just gotta unmute. Tell her she needs to unmute.
Can you unmute?
All right. Sorry, I thought I did. I clicked it, but it didn't go all the way through. Thank you.
Good evening.
Diane Nichols, citizen of Medical Lake, resident, I should say, of Medical Lake. My input on that, if you wanted, without doing the address, maybe give a specific area like Fox Hollow, Fox Ridge, or Hallett Street area, whatever, so somebody wouldn't have to give their specific address. That's just my little piece on that discussion. I wanted to give input about the roundabouts. I'm not a huge fan of them, and I do have concerns about the number that would be on 902. And the one at Lake and Stanley. We've got the Catholic Church right there in the corner. When they're having services, the cars that are parked all along there, plus during the week, school year, all the buses, the bus garage is just down the street. Just how that might work. Again, you have kids crossing the street, parents going to the elementary school, going to the middle school. How are we going to keep them safe with the roundabout there? Same thing true at Graham Road 902. You've got a bus stop across the street. We have middle schoolers. They shouldn't do it, but they do. They cross 902 there, cut across the field to go to the school. My concern for them is with the roundabout there, how safe they would be. Same thing at Stanley. You have a lot of businesses, Conoco, Morning Brew, the car wash, a lot of traffic going in and out, bus stops on each side of the road. Middle schoolers, again, use that intersection to go to school. We have kids riding bikes through there. We have senior citizens, some of them in mobility scooters, some in wheelchairs that are crossing there. Again, at 902 in Brooks, we've got the high schoolers crossing there. We have community members, especially senior citizens, that walk to Lakes or the credit union. We have families that use that intersection when there are high school events or community events. How are we going to keep them safe? I think the practical aspect is that we have to recognize not everybody follows the rules of the road. And I would encourage city officials, or maybe some of the planning commissioners, to go sit at Craig Road at shift change, and you will see cars don't slow down, they don't yield, they train right through there. And I don't see that they will change their behavior in Medical Lake. It will be the same thing. Those on 902 are going to just barrel right through on 902, and everybody else will have to get out of the way. I would hate to see one of our children hurt or killed in the name of efficiency with some roundabouts. So I would suggest that we perhaps look at alternatives, not just be locked in to roundabouts, just because they're very popular in the state right now. Are there alternatives? If you do decide to go with them, I would encourage maybe flashing lights at the intersections that might slow some of these cars down. I'm just really concerned somebody's going to get hurt because they do not see roundabout yield signs at all, many of the drivers. So that's my input on that. I'm just not a big fan of them. Mostly because the rules aren't followed. And we don't have enough deputies to sit at every roundabout. So thank you very much. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, well, that concludes our meeting. Is anybody want to make a motion that we close?
Andy, do it.
What's that? Oh, Cindy did. Got a second? Second. Yeah, okay, so any discussion on closing? All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, got you, Andy. Thank you. Our closing time is 6:51. Thank you very much, everybody.
Wow, I thought we were gonna be here a lot longer.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw the packet agenda, like, oh, we get one back.